and justice for all, too. Thank you. Okay, it is now February. We're going to go quickly through our agenda items. We're going to have our welcomes, a bunch of announcements and events coming up. Put those on your calendar. We have a special feature today talking about planning in a virtual world. PAC planning, but it also applies to everybody else. We'll have a chance to talk and a chance to have questions and answers. Remember to keep your microphones on mute unless you've been asked to talk or are asking a question. You can enter your questions in the chat if you'd like. That is available at the bottom of your screen. And we are recording our call since this is an adult meeting. All right, great. Den meetings. For those that are not holding their own den meetings, we have virtual den meetings that are available to all those cubbies that are not meeting with their own PAC. It is open to all the youth and all of our council. It is from 5 to 6 p.m. on Mondays for Lions and Tigers and Thursdays for Wolves and Bears. Every Thursday, every Monday, being organized by Chris Macy. And check out the links that are on the council web pages. A Be the Change event coming up Sunday, next Sunday, not 2 Sundays from now, February 21st. It is a national BSA celebration. Of course, February is our anniversary month, so this is great. Inaugural class of our female Eagle Scouts will be a special feature of this Be the Change event. You can RSVP on Facebook, scouting.org, Be the Change as well. All right, our council recognition event. This is our all-encompassing, all council, all awards event. And I think Bob Colley's on the line.
Yes, I am. Thank you, Eric.
And we're going to run through some items here, Mark. And Bob, you can explain it.
Okay, so very good. Let's get started. So typically, as many of you know, throughout the year, we have various awards, dinners, banquets at the district level, at the council dinner, council level, Sea Scouts, etc. And as we're unable to have that kind of event this year, we've decided that we are going to have a unified council-wide recognition event. It's going to encompass all the previous awards, Eagle Scouts, Silver Beavers, District Award of Merit, Training Knots, etc., and some others. This year, Chris and I have discussed it, and we really like to elevate the Unit Award of Appreciation. We feel that that's a really important award. Silver Beavers, District Award of Merit, etc., those recipients are very important. But if a unit chooses to acknowledge one of their own as somebody who has gone to lengths to make their unit better, Chris and I just want to make this a little bit nicer this year. So we're coming up with some plans to do such a thing. New for this year will be recognition of Arrow of Light recipients, which I think is also important. We've been recognizing Eagle Scouts, and now through our Scout program, now we'll be going into the Cub Scouts and recognizing those folks as well. You'll be getting more information as to how that's going to take place. So the event's going to be virtual and it'll be presented on March 20th from 6 to 8 p.m. Cost is $5 per family. Folks, this does not cover our costs. So the registration form is going to include some donation suggestions. And there's also going to be an opportunity for you to donate further by purchasing ads to congratulate, say, your Unit Award of Appreciation recipient or Eagle Scout that you know. So please purchase some ads. There's going to be a really nice virtual program that your ad will show up in, and it will be featured as part of the program. The Recognition Event Planning Committee, we're working really hard to plan an event that will have our recipients feel like they've been recognized. We want them to feel important. I know it's hard to do this virtually and in these times, but we want these people to know how appreciative we are in all of our scouting communities for for them to share their time and their talents with us all. It's important, and we're going to try really hard to make this a great event, something you're all going to want to come to. And let's come out and celebrate our council's all-stars. Registration is now open at the council website. That's what I have, Eric. Any questions?
So fantastic. So definitely register for the event. At the time that you register, you can also give a donation, but also remember to nominate your unit award of appreciation nominee, someone who's special that is in your unit that should be recognized for the work that they did last year. Every unit should put one in, which should make a nomination, and we will highlight them at the council recognition event.
So Eric, the question came up in the chat room as to how to do this, and Mark Bonner on board here. Yeah, so it is available on the web page. There's a link coming up in the chat perfect. For everybody. It's go to the events page and then go to recognition event, and you can register there. But also under the awards, you will see unit awards of appreciation, and there is a nomination form there. So folks, all of your units have wonderful people in them. We're all wonderful people. But each year, try and choose somebody that's just been going overboard, doing things. You all have one. At our troop, we had 3 or 4 to choose from, and that's kind of tough. But these people feel really honored when they receive it. It's just a nice thank you. And please purchase an ad to congratulate them. Very good. Thank you very much, Bob. Okay, moving to our next item. If you haven't noticed already, we are getting a new web homepage. So nice and bright and clear, bold. You can find your web pages quicker this way, and we can highlight some of the things that are going on our main web page. So not sure, Mark, if you have anything else. Is this a complete redo?
No, not much else to say, Eric. I think you hit it. You hit the key points there. We just redid the homepage, so every other link should work. No big deal for other pages that you normally go to. But if you go to this homepage, you'll be able to find what you're looking for a lot quicker.
Very good. Also available on your mobile device.
The key points there. We just did the homepage, so every other link should work. No big deal.
We're getting a duplicate there. All right, very good. Mute your microphones. Remember. Okay. And back to a last question about Arrow of Light recipients. Arrow of Light recipients should be whoever's received their Arrow of Lights as of now, and the list will come from the Scout office because you have registered those Arrow of Light recipients already. Okay, for those units that are looking to fundraise, I know it's hard to get out there right now. It's hard to build up a savings of any kind. We do have 2 types of fundraisers that are always available here. We got popcorn from Trails End, some new products that are out there, salted peanuts and the popping corn that's pre-pop or not popped yet. Of various prices, some reductions in prices too for salted caramel popcorn, which is really good, and the unbelievable popcorn bags. And the best thing is that you can send this out to your people, and they can send it out to their friends and their relatives, and you can do all of this virtually. You don't have to go stand in front of a grocery store or something like that. You don't have to go walk around from house to house to do this either. Camp cards, same thing. You can do a virtual option. They can order the cards directly and have them delivered to them. That way, there are various kinds of deals throughout the Long Beach area. And of course, if you've ever done camp cards before, you'll know that you can actually go onto their web site for the camp card, and you can get additional coupons for areas that are not near Long Beach. So I've sold cards to people that are in New York and Florida, and they can use the camp cards out there too, because they can get the coupons for their local stuff. All right. Fundraisers. Oh, look at this. What do we got here? Which spring fundraiser option are you most likely to participate in? Okay, everybody, this is your chance to participate. This is an interactive thing. Put your polling in, see how many people want popcorn, camp cards, virtually, camp cards physically, both camp cards and popcorn, or not interested. Gonna give you a little bit of time there. Throw your hat in the ring. So a little bit of a split here. You guys can vote for your best choice. All right. Polling is now closed. Looks like here we've got popcorns and camp cards are with 22% or neither. And then camp cards virtual or camp cards physical are, if you add those two up, that's 34%. So we'll take that into consideration to move this forward for the springtime. Thank you very much for your participation. Okay, moving on to the calendar. So office, the Scout office and shop hours. Scout office will be closed let's see, on the 15th and 16th, President's Day weekend, and of course the weekends. And shop hours are basically open Monday to Fridays, with that exception. Upcoming trainings. Remember, a trained leader. Every Scout deserves that trained leader. Cub Scout leader specific training is coming up this Saturday, 2 days away, 8 a.m. to noon. You get your train patch when you finish your Cub leader specific training. Please sign up right now. Right now, Long Beach area, longbbeachbsa.org/training for all of these. Merit badge counselor training. We are always looking for those counselors to help with the Scouts to earn their merit badges. We have some open slots. We have some certain merit badges that do not have an assigned or a counselor that's available to actually teach it and be the counselor. And youth protection. We still are not at 100%. And so for those leaders out there, let everyone else know in your unit that they need youth protection. It is a Zoom-based meeting, February 25th. All right. Cub Wow. Hey, I'm going to bring in Michael Devine. Tell us about Cub Wow.
Hey, thanks, Eric. You know, it's always interesting. I had the pleasure in scouting of spending, you know, all the ranks in Cubs and then in Scouts and then in crew. And, you know, when we start the Cub program as you know, parents, we're always looking for ways to learn more about the program. And certainly there's traditional training to become a trained leader, but, you know, getting as much information as we can is something we're always craving to do. And in the past, the Long Beach Area Council participated in something called Powwow. And Powwow happened once a year, typically at a location near 3 different councils, Verdugo Hills, Long Beach, and at the time, San Gabriel. And typically several hundred Cub adult leaders would descend on an area, and there would be tons of different choices that you could make and take. learning about Cub camping or Cub food preparation or running a den meeting or arts and crafts. And it was always a huge success. And then when San Gabriel folded into the LA Council, basically that event went away. And it's actually, I think it's been over 3 years now since one happened. So our training committee contacted Verdugo Hills last year, actually, and talked about reinventing that program. And what we're doing is we were able to work with Verdugo. We have that program. It's now called Cub Wow. And we're going to be offering it in 2 different ways this year. And the first way comes up on Saturday, May 1st from 8 a.m. to noon. And we'll be offering about 16 different classes in various interests and studies in the Cub Scout program. There'll be 3 class periods, all of this virtual, where you'll get a choice of classes you could take in the first period. Each period will run about 45 minutes. You can do it again mid-morning and then late morning. And the whole thing wraps up by noon. This is the first time we've ever offered something like this virtually. You're going to hear from over a dozen instructors that are experienced in the Cub Scout program, but are only really there to help you learn more about how you can be a better leader and the things that you can learn to do that will give you and your scouts the most fulfilling program. So as of today, and I'm going to go to the chat room here, I'm going to paste a link, if I can do it. There you go. And that link will take you to basically a sign up, for more information page on the council website. We'll take your information down, and I think in about 2 weeks, we're actually going to open it up and will allow you to sign up for the event to make choices on the kind of classes that you might be interested in taking, and then get your place in line. We know that we can offer it to at least 50 Scouters in Long Beach. We're splitting the space available with Verdugo Hills, but we're also working on ways to offer it to even more people, and so we may be able to open it up further. There is a fee for the event. I believe it is $5, and that will let you have participation, throughout the day. We're going to follow that up in the fall with, God willing, an actual live event that will actually take place most of the day. We'll have more class periods, more classes to be offered. But to get this thing off the ground, we didn't want to wait till October, November. So we're going to start with our virtual event on May 1st. So I think that's most of the information wanted to convey. I don't know if Eric, if there's any questions or anything, I'd be happy to answer them, but I think that's it.
Anybody has a question, if you're on Zoom, you can go ahead and unmute. If you're otherwise, you can enter a question in the chat. All right.
Yep. Cool.
Great. Very good. All right. Now our feature presentation for the evening is virtual meeting planning. And Michael Devine, would you take it away?
Well, let me find him. I think he just left. Okay. Oh, here I am.
All right.
And actually, I'm going to co-present this this evening with Tolly Smith, who I think many of you know, and if you don't, she is the Cub Master for Pack 134. So the talk today really isn't specifically about the Cub Scout program. It's really about all of the unit programs that we have, and in the challenges that we've had in conducting virtual meetings, and the tools that are available to us to make the best possible meetings that we can. I remember when I started, my first 2 years in our program as just a Cub Scout parent, and kind of, going to all the events and going to all the den meetings, and it was a little bit haphazard, but it was certainly fun, and everybody enjoyed themselves. And then my 3rd year, I got the opportunity to be the Bear den leader, and I right away got trained because I wanted to know more about how this works. One of the things that I started to use that we had not been using before, and I know that some people use these kind of tools from the beginning and others don't know and they have to learn about them, and others, use some of the tools and not all. But one of the things that I found most valuable, both in the crew, in troop, and in Cubs, was using a meeting planner. Because the meeting planner serves a ton of different purposes that can be really hard to kind of put together if you don't have a plan. But when you do have a plan, it will go really, really well. I don't know about you, and certainly put it down in the chat. But a lot of the problems as a den leader that I first faced when I became a den leader was, I don't know, attention spans of our youth scouts, participation of parents, trying to figure out how much we could, cram into the time we had and not to go over. I'm just wondering if I look in the chat, what other things you guys as either den or troop leaders find as issues that you need to resolve and champion in order to have a good meeting. What other kind of challenges do you have? Well, well, you may be having amazing meetings, and that is very, very cool if you are. I know one of the things that I noticed coming in as a den leader was that, scouts typically were not going to sit there for 55 minutes and have one person talk about, a single topic. No matter how scintillating that was, whether it was first aid or whether it was some other kind of skill. Yeah, I had problems with attention spans. The other problem I had was that going into being a den leader, the unit had gotten really used to the leader leading by themselves, conducting it by themselves, and so you can imagine that the parents would not be particularly engaged in the process because they didn't have any role. So looking at the virtual meeting, one of the things that you notice right away is that there is a set number of activities. There are gathering activities. There are an opening that has to be done. There usually are multiple things that you can do within the meeting. And all of that is geared towards accomplishing a couple things. One is your goal as a, I'm sorry, somebody say something? No, okay. One is your goal as a den and what you're trying to achieve and what you're trying to accomplish and how you advance. The other, obviously, is to do things that relate to the role of scouting in terms of building, character, and certainly, most importantly, to have fun. So, one of the things that we do in using the meeting planner is break these things into increments so that nothing is going on for such an extended period that you lose the interest of the scouts. The other thing is it allows for the opportunity for many people to be able to speak, not just the leader themselves. And so by breaking these things up and having a plan before you go in, it's easier to communicate at the troop crew level. It could be to our youth. At the cub level, it could be to either the den leader, the youth leader, or parents, to be able to share the role and have different voices and have different people lead. It's really an extension of the annual plan. I'm wondering at the cub level, why would you think a gathering activity would be a fairly important thing to do?
It gets them all up and moving, and it brings them all together for the activities.
100%. That's 100. Yes, 100%.
You gotta focus.
Yes, yes. You know, depending on where you have it, we all know that when meetings start, right, people come in at different times. Some people come in and want us to get started right away. Some people want to talk, to you as the leader or to other adults. There's just a myriad of things in that pre-meeting that can be distracting. And if you don't have an activity for your scouts ahead of the beginning of the meeting, then they're really sitting there with nothing to do. Is it like at the Cub level, what do you think would be a great gathering activity for 10, 12 minutes before a meeting starts as scouts and parents kind of come in and people show up late? Absolutely.
You can do scavenger hunts in the house, you do virtual scavenger hunts. At least that's what we have done for our PAC meetings and some of our den meetings. We actually do have one, say we did our last, I had find a scarf, and you give them a couple of seconds and they all bring back and they show you their scarf. Okay. And then you say, get an umbrella, but don't open it in the house. And you have them bring it, even though some of them do open it. You have things that will be interactive for the scouts to do, since it is virtual and you're not right there with them. You make them do stuff so it helps them get used to everything and makes it more interactive, and they have more fun. So you're not going to lose them just sitting there, since they've been in school where they're doing Zoom and all that. So this makes it more, and it gets them all the squirrelies out, the wiggles out too.
Well, Talia, another thing that it also does is the den leader doesn't have to be in charge of the gathering activity.
Exactly.
Right. It can be any other parent.
Yes.
So
utilize them.
Right. So as you're getting ready to do the things that you need to do, or maybe you need to talk to another adult about something that they're going to be doing during your meeting, putting another adult in charge of the gathering activity allows the den leader or whoever else is involved to do the things they need to do pre-meeting and still have the scouts really feel engaged and really feel fun. At the troop level, it could be setting up, gadgets or other activities for the upcoming troop meeting, or it could be, working on some kind of organization for an upcoming trip. As long as the communication is good, there's a lot of great things to do. The opening, again, planning the opening and sort of having all these sheets together. You can have a list of which scouts have done the pledge or have done the oath or had a thought or whatever it is, so that you don't absentmindedly, by mistake go, oh, you've picked, Johnny 3 different times in the last 4 weeks and you didn't realize it, but all the other scouts realize it. So if you actually keep your list and you know who has done what role and you're rotating them around, again, everybody really feels engaged. And so between the gathering and the opening, maybe we're 10 or 15 minutes into our time. And then we roll, 2 activities. So by using chat, just a quick show, how many of you in den meetings specifically, do you try to do 1, 2, 3 or more activities in a given meeting? Well, on average, how many activities do you try to do?
Can I use myself as an example for the AOLs in my
let's put it down in the chat first. Let's get them
Sure.
to participate, and then we'll absolutely go to that. I see the last answer was people show up late from Brian, which is a good answer, but I'm really looking for 1, 2, 3 or more. There you go, Jennifer. Yeah. Jennifer saved us. 2 to 3 short activities, at least 3. Yeah, once you call on Brian now, we'll get him every time. Carly, 2. Very good. Yeah. So, all right. So I'm going to turn it over to Tali. Tali, so let's talk about that. About 3. Thank you, Melissa.
Okay. So ones that are our den leaders, you guys, besides this virtual planning meeting, you guys have your leader books. This actually has the whole thing broken down to where you have what you can do for talk time, what you can do for the activity, what you can do for the closing, what you can do for the opening. It's all there for you. So you really don't have to think about it. You can have it planned out. I know for me, when I was a wolf leader, but now with the Arrow Light, my son's group, we do 2 to 3 activities, but we also do things to where they help us plan and get them involved in the activity. So that way you do part of it as a fun part of the activity to earn the requirement or the elective. And then you have the serious stuff where you have to really talk about information. and then you have them go back to something that's fun, and then you just keep rotating it back and forth, because that's the only way you really can get the scouts focused on it. That way you bring everything around for them. We even kind of have them figure out, hey, what's for the next time? We're going to work on this one activity. Look in your book and see if you guys can help us figure out what you want to do about that activity. What'd you learn? And find out what other items they want to figure out with that activity.
You know, and I think one of the words that Tali mentioned there, that I don't care how old our scouts are a really important part of every meeting we do is fun, right? So when you're doing, a lot of you all have the same answer, right? Is that you do at least 2 to 3 specific activities. And knowing that we try to be at an hour, or maybe you try to be at an hour and 10, whatever, you know, whatever it is for your particular unit, there's only so many activities you can do at any one time, but it's also important to match them, right? So if we're doing something that's going to take a lot of skill or learning skill and concentration, we want to balance that off with something even more fun and even potentially even silly, right? Because we want to do something that helps us bond as a unit, or bond as a den or a troop, something where people can feel a lot of success. And also, you know, people don't feel like they're using those same intense studying muscles all the time. So it's important to look at the breadth of the activities you do. I know for almost all the time that I was a den leader, I really tried to do essentially 2 big activities that would be 15 to 20 minutes, occasionally a little bit longer, and then a couple of smaller activities, you know, 5 to 10 minutes, either to reinforce something on advancement, or just to really give them a chance to have fun and do some things that they would, you know, feel really good about. You want every youth to walk out of the meetings, feel engaged, to feel happy, and to want to come back. And a lot of that has to do with, you know, how they kind of feel those meetings go. And we have total control about how we set them up. Tali, I can have you come back for a little bit and talk about also another one of the major things we do. And Tali mentioned that in the fact that there is a plan out there already, but how advancement is, it's really important to have that as part of every planner.
Okay. So with in your books, if you are a leader, you have your leader book, it breaks it down for you to where it'll tell you how many meetings one requirement will take. It can be 1 meeting, like tigers, it takes 1 meeting. When you get to wolves, it may take 2 or 3 meetings. Don't feel that nothing has to be right then, everything has to be done right then and there. It breaks it down to where you know your den, you know how your scouts are. Something may take longer for your group to do. Don't get discouraged by it. It happens. Just know that you're pacing for them, and let them be the ones to help you decide and engage everything. You don't want to make it to where you're making it so it's not fun for them and you're making everything set and it has to be this way. No, you have to do the change. You have to just go with the flow, in the sense of, if that's not if something's too hard for them, okay, you have to back off and try a different approach to it. But in the leader book, it's all written out for you. You can have it, and it tells you, like, okay, your next meeting, you're going to have to do the following steps, and it has it written for your next meeting for you. So just go with what it has. And if you have to think outside of the box, think outside of the box. It's not always set in stone. So if you know some scouts want to do something fun and do arts and crafts type of stuff, then do that and bring that into them. Also too, with these virtual meetings, I know for us, we make little bags and drop them off at their houses, or have them pick up at a certain leader's house, usually my house, and that has them ready for the activity when you're doing virtually. So then they know that they feel like they're still doing their meeting together, not like separate, being the fact that we are on Zoom right now. Doing that, it makes they feel that they're actually working together, and they're still talking and doing everything just like you would be doing at a normal den meeting. So just know that you can do things that way, and that makes the scouts feel that they're all still together.
Thank you. No, thank you very much. So the last thing I want to talk about in terms of the planner is really twofold. One is the use of our other adult scouters and parents, and the other is looking at it more than an individual meeting, looking at it as more of an annual plan. So, you know, one of the things I hear a lot in both training and just in my scouting experience is there definitely dens and units where the number one issue is parent involvement, that they feel that there aren't enough parents involved, that they're not getting enough help. And that's a real problem. At the cub level, there are a lot of reasons for that, and there's no one set answer that works with everything. But just really quickly, if you can in the chat, what are some of the reasons, if you have experienced struggling with getting more adults involved in your den or your unit? What do you think some of the major issues are with that? How about, do parents always know their role? Do they always know their role or their expectations? Parents are has to help, not knowing what to do. Yes, absolutely. Right. So parents hoping that the den meetings are drop off and leaves events or leave events. Yeah. And we also been really clear that that's not the way it works. They assume the leaders know more. Yes, Jennifer, that's absolutely right. So those are all really, really good answers, right? So a lot of that kind of goes to the same thing, which is that a lot of times parents just simply don't know what their role is, and they don't know what to do. So one of the things that you know I did as a den leader specifically was I had, and again, this was learned from other leaders who had done it before me, was to have an annual planning meeting for our den parents. And I would sit down with them at the end of the summer and say, hey, you know what? Here are all the things that we want to accomplish this year as a den. And I'm not going to do all of them. You know, here are the things that I think I'm really good at and I'd be happy to lead. And I'm still going to need your help. But, you know, but here are all these other things that we have to accomplish. You know, what would you guys like to do? What would you be interested in leading? How would, maybe you're in health professions and maybe there's a first aid or something else that you want to do, or maybe your skill set is being in the outdoors, or maybe your skill set is cooking. But finding out without all the kids there what they really enjoy doing, and then plugging them into these plans so that they have time to prepare, gives them a sense of participation, gives them a sense of accomplishment. They feel like that when it's actually their time to shine, that they've had the right prep for it. And one of the things that I noticed was our kids, our cubs, they see that. They see if their parent is getting the opportunity to participate. They see whether their parent is comfortable in it. Also depends on the den leader's ability to keep the attention of the scouts in their den. Peter, you're absolutely right. And that's another reason why we try to get more voices involved, right? So that more people get an opportunity to have some aspect of leadership, still run by the den leader. But, you know, we, the pack, the den I worked on, Den 5, we all remember our den numbers forever. You know, we wound up getting 6 Eagle Scouts out of that den. And one of the reasons was from the very beginning till the end, their parents became involved in the program. And not all of them, you know, put on a uniform. Not all of them wanted to have a legitimate role, although some did, but they stayed involved. You know, they took their turn doing some stuff leading with the den and their skill sets. They went into scouts and either became assistant scout masters or just helped in any way they could. And that's one of the major reasons that kids stick around. They see their parents engaged and involved. It makes them more likely to be engaged and involved. So what planning does, it allows us to take control, and it allows us to offer it to the parents. And like I said, that meeting was for parents only. So that parents didn't feel bad or feel inhibited by talking about, you know, the kind of things they'd like to do or what they don't feel confident in. And it was just a tremendous help. So I think that's all I really had on both the planning meetings. The virtual side of it, it's not a lot different. You know, we have to use Zoom, we have to do different things, but you still can do an adult, you know, meeting. You still can do the advanced planning. It's a little harder, and hopefully in the next, you know, 4 or 5 months, we're really going to be going back to more of an in-person experience. But just wanted to present this tonight. You know that this tool is out here. You can go to scouting.org and find it for den meetings or for troop meetings. You also can take you know, Cub Scout leader specific training, which I believe is being offered this Saturday. We offer it several times a year. You also can take Baloo training, which we're hoping to do by the beginning of the summer, which is the introduction to outdoor leadership skills for Cub Scout leaders, and just continue your education. So I want to thank you for doing this tonight with us. Really appreciate it. Oils is trying to come up. So thank you, Danielle. The answer is we have not scheduled it yet because we're really waiting to see when the restrictions can be lifted and we can actually do it in person. It's typically an overnight camping experience. We also know that if we get to the beginning of the summer and those restrictions have not been lifted, then we are going to look at a virtual event. We're not going to go another year and not have ILOS. So that's what I can tell you right now. We're committing to doing it this year. We just don't know whether it's going to be live or virtual yet.
So Michael, I'd like to open it up if anybody else has a question about virtual meetings. This also applies to troop meetings. Attention spans are still short, all the way up to adulthood. But I do have a question. How would you say, or how would you separate the types of virtual meetings that a unit would hold? Because I know, you know, sometimes we have parent meetings, sometimes we have committee meetings, sometimes we have, you know, scout meetings and you know, or patrol leader meetings. So can you kind of shine some light on the various types of meetings and when we should hold them?
You talking to me, Eric?
Yes.
Okay, good. I couldn't tell. All right, so I think one of the fundamental things as you work with these tools, and I think it's also one of the real powers of scouting, is that the way we organize things never really changes. It's really based on the patrol method. It's really based on shared leadership. And so whether we're putting together a den meeting or a troop meeting or a crew meeting, whether it's an adult who's running it, whether it's a youth who's running it, our goals don't really change. We just adjust them for the level of scout that we're working with. And that's why I said, even though we were working with a den planner tonight, a troop unit planner really isn't that much different, right? We're still working on multiple things we try to accomplish in an evening. We're still working on trying to get as many voices involved as possible. And we're still trying to get all the major tenets of scouting into each meeting, right? We're still trying to have it to be about leadership and citizenship and advancement and basically fun. And so, yeah, the activities we're going to do for, you know, our troops are going to be different than Cubs, but our goals are really not going to change. And that's why I think this kind of planning is such a vital tool.
Excellent. Well, for those, thank you so much, Michael, and thank you, Tali, for giving us a lot of good information. And for those that are planning ahead, think about summertime and what you're going to do this summer. Got to start planning now. And Mark, what do we have in store for us for Camp Talkwitz, maybe?
Sure. So I'm going to give just kind of a brief intro, and then also we have Joe Warner, our Camp Talkwitz director, who I know has been keeping his finger on the pulse of things. But you know, we plan on you know, running summer camp. Right now we are still closed. The state hasn't issued yet their guidance for opening summer camp. I think the name of the game will be to be a little flexible. We know that summer camp will be a little different than a normal year, and using probably the cohort model as we were discussing last year of doing. A lot will depend on, where we are in the tiers in San Bernardino County, and then also where are we in percentage of people vaccinated. That is going to probably be the driving force as we move through. So we are part of a group. I mean, this affects every resident camp in California. We're part of a group called the California Collaboration for Youth, and it's a coalition of a bunch of different youth serving agencies and also other organizations that run youth camps. And we're writing letters, and we're putting a lot of pressure on the state to issue that guidance and to open us up. But I know that that Joe, along with our summer camp director, Michael Dermody, they're up to their eyeballs in summer camp planning. And with that, I'll turn it over to Joe. You can see he has a beautiful snow background, and just freshly moved into the remodeled Ranger house. And he and his wife, Carrie, are got a few feet of snow dumped on them right about the time that they were moving in. So they're getting initiated into Camp Tockwitz. So Joe, you might have a little more information. I know you've been talking to the California Collaboration for Youth guys. And so why don't you tell us what we have in store?
Well, first of all, good evening, everybody. Thank you for giving me a couple minutes here tonight, John and Mark. As John said, yeah, we are planning summer camp this summer. All of the studies are clear. This staying at home for the youth is not healthy. So the goal is to get the youth out, to get them up here to camp. We are looking at the cohort model to make the camp experience better and easier for everybody, and to give everybody more time for program and the merit badge activities this year, and to stay within what we anticipate will be some of the COVID guidelines. We are running camp without the commissary option. We'll be doing everything with patrol feed. So we have that. We've opened up our registration portal, which is brand new for everybody. It's brand new for us as well. And I'm not going to say it's perfect. If you have any problems, please feel free to reach out to me, joe.warner@scouting.org. But we've taken what we have previously referred to as our early bird pricing, which would have ended the 31st of December. And we've opened that up until the 31st of March. So we're seeing a lot of positive aspects with this with troops. We're seeing troops sign up. So go back to your troops, start planning to come to camp. More to come. I'm meeting with the Tockwitz committee every other week as we're talking about how are we going to do merit badges? What are the programs going to look like? Stay tuned. We have more to come. One last bit of information. We have changed our cancellation policy, and it's stated on the website. So there is no risk if your troop makes a commitment to come to camp, yet we can't hold camp due to COVID situations or any other external force that we can't control. We are offering full refund. So that's about all I have to say. We're looking forward to having camp. Camp is beautiful. We're getting just enough snow that the trees, the grasses, everything's going to be great. So get your troops signed up for summer camp.
The lake is full, isn't it, Joe, right now?
The lake is overflowing full.
And John, can you go over pricing, or Joe? There was a question about pricing.
I'm gonna spitball this one, Mark, but I believe the early bird pricing at patrol feed is $3.95, but I'm not sure. It'll tell you on the website when you go there to sign up.
All right, excellent. It's going to be a good year to go to Camp Tockwitz. Okay, Mark, we're going to about wrap this up. It's getting close to 8 o'clock. Next month, we'll be featuring some breakouts for each one of the unit types, the Cubs, the troops, to have their own time to talk. That is a great feature of Roundtable, is the socializing, the sharing of information between units and between people, between leaders. We cross-pollinate, if you will, the scouting movement. And so, Mark, when you got our screen popped up for our next roundtable will be Thursday, March 11th. Again, same bat channel, same bat place, via Zoom, 7 p.m. If there's any last minute questions in the Zoom or in our Zoom meeting, I'd be happy to take them.
Yeah, so Eric, there were a couple of questions here. I know we're coming to the end here and we'll probably dismiss in a few minutes. Kelly and Tom were asking about pricing for Talkwitz. If it's not posted on the, there's a link on that summer camp page that takes you to a third party. If it's not there, we'll follow up with you tomorrow. I've made a note to do that. So just because we're dismissing here, we're not ignoring your questions here, but we will get back to you on pricing. There are 2 more Arrow of Light classes that have been going on every other Saturday. So feel free to join in the 20th of February and then March 6th. No, I don't think those are going to be too late to register or to qualify for our recognition event. We certainly want to recognize everybody who's completed that up till the middle of March. We're working on our virtual derby. So Brian, thank you for that note. Yep. Don't forget to purchase your derby cars with Sandy in the Scout Shop. Call it in, come pick them up. But we are certainly doing our April Pinewood Derby. So
right, April 17th, we'll have a pack level races. You can feature your own pack, or we'll have an open pack for those scouts that are not going to participate in their own pack. They can still race against other Cub Scouts. And then April 24th is the finals, and that'll be live streamed for everyone to take a look.
So Eric, I think that about does it. We kept it to an hour, and unless there's anything else, I think we're good to go.
That's been our goal. Okay, so with that, I bid you adieu. Be safe, be well, and hold those meetings.